Okay, so we're gonna try and get this going. Let's see if I can add Kate now.
It work for you, but not for
I don't
me.
know. That's
Hi.
really weird. What's up?
Nothing. How are you?
We're surviving, aren't we?
Surviving, yes. That is the
Can
correct term, is surviving.
you hear me? How's my audio?
I
Is it
can.
good?
Can yes. Can you hear me?
Yep. You sound good.
Perfect.
All right, if y'all are just joining, welcome, welcome. This is Andrew and Kate.
Hi.
Yeah, right? No, we're just checking in, seeing how life is going, talk about a little bit what's happening, and make sure we know we're not alone because it's a wild world right now.
Yes, and we are not alone. There are so many of us. We just
Yeah,
need to band together.
I know, right? So what's on your thoughts right now? What's happening in the world? What's the biggest one just driving you crazy?
Everything. Can you pinpoint that?
Right?
ICE
Definitely.
is still kidnapping people. They were
Yeah.
gonna block the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, well, the president shows up at the USC and just gets
Uh,
pandered to the entire time, and we got Eric Swalwell doing his golden
Swalwell.
thing. So, yeah,
We
amazing
do
things.
have Hungary though.
It's
That's
true.
a
Yeah,
win.
yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah, silver linings right now.
Yes, the silver linings are so important.
Yeah.
So important. Yeah, the first thing I when I said to my husband, I was like, "Did you see?" And he was like, "No way." Like that didn't happen. He like did
Right.
not believe me. And I was like, "He conceded. I don't know what to tell you." Like, I don't know what to tell you. But yes, the silver linings. But I went to the grocery today and we were just stocking up on canned goods because
Yeah.
what the last ship is the 15th, and then if we're gonna
Yep.
blockade, that's gonna have global consequences, not just
What are your
us.
gas prices where you're at right now in Kansas?
350-ish.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we're like everybody in the country is probably like, what? Because
Yeah,
Oklahoma and Kansas, we really have it pretty good compared to everywhere else in the country. I think the
yeah.
average is like 415 right now, if I remember right.
I want to say last year, because I'm relatively new to Kansas, I
Yeah,
think our like normal gas is like 240 to 260, and
yeah.
so 350 is a jump.
Anything
Uh,
over three in Oklahoma or in this Midwest area is pretty wild. But
yeah. There's one
yeah,
gas station that I saw that was 319, or like, let's get gas.
yeah, right. Yeah,
um,
exactly.
but
No,
yeah,
it's going up every day right now. It feels like it's going up like 10 cents a day as I'm watching it in the last like week or so.
it's rough.
Okay, so let's talk Democratic Party because that's where my frustrations are at.
Yeah, you go first.
So, yeah, obviously there's the Eric Swalwell thing. There's just the Hassan Piker minimization thing. There's
Mhm.
just in general, I think kind of this conversation. I think that one question I think that is simple to start this conversation for me is like, where do you see the biggest difference between liberals and leftists right now? Because I think people identify themselves in many ways. On the Democratic side, there's a lot of people that obviously agree that where we're at is bad. But what do you see as the biggest separation between where we're supposed to go on the people we know somewhat agree with us?
I I feel like that the right has moved so far right that like the middle anymore is like liberal.
Yeah,
And I feel like there's so many people who say that liberal and progressive and leftist are the same. And it's like they are three very different ideologies, right? And
yeah,
so for anyone who like wants to work within the current system that we have, liberalism is all right for you. But if you want to change the system,
yeah.
you got to go farther left. And I think that's like scary for people from the propaganda the right has given. Like, if you go so far left, the far left, but it's like the far left is where you see change
Right.
and how we actually change the systems.
Yeah, right.
because we don't
Yeah, I
want to work
think
within them because the system now
right.
doesn't work.
Exactly. And I think that's the hardest part is I think like liberals and leftists both agree that like the system doesn't work. But when we talk about what the solution is, there's this comfort versus discomfort on how we challenge it.
Hmm.
And it feels like leftists a lot of the times feels like it's an economic difference. There's people
Hmm.
that the necessity to fight for a lot of people on the leftist side are like, well, I've got to pay my rent. I've got to feed my family. And, certain liberals, it's kind of like, well, I own my home. I can take care of these things. I understand these solutions, but we're not there yet. Like becomes this type of conversation. And
Yeah.
how we bridge that gap for me has always been one of the biggest problems, especially living in Oklahoma, because there's a lot of people that totally agree. There's a lot more blue people in Oklahoma, and I'm sure as you agree in Kansas,
Hmm.
than I think a lot of people understand. But what they understand is the solutions is very different. And how we understand is what's realistic becomes a very big conversation constantly in the Midwest.
Yeah. I don't feel like a lot of people move from liberal to progressive or even leftist until it affects them directly.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
because because like you said, like liberalism is just comfortable. Like it's
Yeah,
you have to be uncomfortable enough to want to make change.
yep.
And I don't feel like a lot of people have hit that enough. But
Yeah,
I don't
and
know.
there's that kind of like a subconscious conservatism to it that, even
Yeah.
just as Americans, like, well, I'm just comfortable enough, I need to preserve it.
Hmm.
And that's easy to think about just at the end of like capitalism or in the middle of fascism to me. It's, I understand, well, I have this. I want
Hmm.
to conserve it, I want to preserve it. But I think one of the biggest difference, like we're talking about, is for a lot of leftists, it's the people who are suffering the most. It's the people who understand that, like, I don't have a lot to give you to sacrifice for this. And liberals, it's more like, what do I have to give you for these solutions?
Hmm.
And to me, that feels like kind of the biggest argument is that I really feel like a lot of liberals understand the morality, obviously, of where we're at in history.
Hmm.
But we're at this point where it's like, well, what am I willing to give up for that? To actually do something for it if I work so hard for this or I have
Yeah.
this for my family, especially if I have kids or, an actual family I'm raising, which I don't. So I'm lucky enough to speak in that kind of capacity, like I'm just sacrificing something. But
Yeah.
uh,
I
but
mean,
uh,
no.
yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I have two kids. I have a mortgage. I like, you got to put food on the table somehow, and like, you,
right.
ugh, it's frustrating.
Yeah, you can only sacrifice so much to fight for everybody, and that's kind of what fascism relies on. I made a video not long ago, it got like no views, but the whole point was, like my very first protest was Occupy, and I was
Hmm.
20 years old, and I was in Oklahoma. I was starting Rebirth, and me and my co-founder were like, "Well, we've got to go out to this, right?" And we went out there, and I just remember being around a lot of people that felt like they had something at stake,
Hmm.
and the biggest difference I feel like is people don't have the time that they did even 15 years ago. Like 2010 or so when Occupy, people were suffering, and there was
Hmm.
obviously a recession happening, and people were trying to protest against it. But people could even, in some capacity, show up days or even weeks at a time between their community. And I honestly, in that video, what my point was is that I feel like the biggest thing we haven't changed is minimum wage because if you did, it gives us that much more breathing room to fight for bigger things.
Hmm.
Like that, the ability to show up even for a few days. Like we love to villainize and demonize no kings. I am definitely one that kind of like likes to nitpick a bit, but like showing up on a Saturday and kind of at brunch time and doing our protests, it matters to some extent. But if you really compare those to 15 years ago, part of it is just we just have to survive. We don't have the ability to do that on a Monday or Tuesday
Hmm.
as easy as we maybe had 15 years ago. And I feel like in many ways the system has put us in a place where we're just not allowed to protest as hard as we know we need
Hmm.
to change it. But we're at this point where we're trying to figure out how to give each other grace while we do it. And so
Yeah.
it's this weird silver lining that we have to fight.
Yeah. I mean, my first protest was no kings.
Really? Yeah. That's
In my
actually,
in my
yeah.
defense, I did not live in the country in my 20s, but
No, actually, tell me more about that because I saw your video about that. You lived in Japan, was it, for a while?
China.
China, China. Okay, so
China.
how long did you live there?
I moved when I was 22, and then we moved back when I was turning 30.
What's the
So
biggest lesson you learned there in your mind? Because your video on it was amazing. I love that. But I want to hear it again in some capacity.
I China, and whenever I'd come back to visit, my family would always ask, "What's the biggest difference?" And it's like you
Yeah.
can't pinpoint a biggest difference. Like anything that we do here is the complete opposite over there. It's a complete 180.
Well, and they're
Um,
demonized so much with how they do things because it's communism and like you
is
talked
it?
about like the warehouses of Apple and how terrible people have it and all these propagandist ideas. What did you experience when it comes to that lifestyle?
I mean, I lived in a small city of 7 million people. But for China,
Oh,
that
wow.
was small.
Huge.
um, and I mean, there was a wealth difference. I mean, I worked with a lot of wealthier people in the city. I taught English as a second language, and the school that I worked at catered to more wealthy. And like there was poverty gaps, but
Right.
like they took care of their people. Everyone could make a living wage, and living wage isn't anything like what it is here.
Yeah.
It's because everything's so much cheaper there. Food is affordable, and childcare is affordable. When I had my first son in China, and I was so sick. I had a very high risk pregnancy. We had to hire a housekeeper, and we were making probably 60,000 with the both of us, and we were able to hire a housekeeper to come
Yeah.
and clean our house and
That's
cook me breakfast and lunch, like
yeah.
5 days a week. Like
Yeah.
we were able to do that on a $60,000 salary, but that both of us shared. Like that was what
Yeah.
we lived on.
As a mother
And
coming back, what was, do you think, the biggest difficult shift coming back to the United States?
healthcare,
Yeah.
healthcare.
Yeah.
I I mean, seeing that and then coming back here was crazy because like when I lived here before I left, I was on my parents' insurance, right?
Right.
I was in university, I was on my parents' insurance. I didn't have to pay for anything. Like it was easy
Yeah.
peasy. I go to China, I had my son, high risk pregnancy. I was in the hospital every week, like getting
Oh, wow.
checkups and everything done. With that, and then with labor and delivery, I was in the hospital for 10 days. Labor and delivery was 6,000 US dollars. And
Wow.
half of that was our room because we paid for a VIP room where it was just me and
Yeah.
my husband and we didn't have to share it with anyone. Like half of
Wow.
that was the room. It's like six
That,
thousand dollars. And then I had my second son here in the States in Ohio. And that before like insurance kicked in was $36,000. And I was in the hospital for about 36 hours.
wow. That's, oh my gosh.
What?
That's,
It's crazy.
yeah.
Hospital for 10 days, $6,000. Hospital for 36 hours and was about $36,000.
That's
Like that's a
crazy. A
thousand dollars
thousand
an
dollars an
hour.
hour. Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
there was no
wild.
complications. I was in and out with him. Like it was,
Yeah. Well, and that comes to like the progressive conversation I feel like I've had my entire life is like, well, we can't afford education, we can't afford healthcare. And it's like, here we
but we can
are.
afford the arc to Trump. Like
Yeah, right. Or bombing Iran, like all these things that we're doing, even just right now, that the amount we could afford with it is just
it's
exhausting to
insane.
have to explain constantly. I think
Yeah.
that's the hardest part, honestly, about being leftist in any capacity is not that there's nothing, I think one of the biggest things that conservatives love getting off on is feeling like they're right in any moment. And that's one thing I've always tried to explain to conservatives that I know that actually care is that there's really no win in environmentalism or even leftism as a general idea that like you win. Like I
Mhm.
these are negative. Like I where we're going is not a good thought. I'm not happy about it. I don't want to be right about it. Telling you that climate change is destroying the planet doesn't make me feel good. Like us knowing we could afford healthcare or education or high speed railway or renewable energy while we give our
High
money to
speed
oil and gas
railway.
is
I could talk about that all day.
love it. Yeah, like I love that's where my passion was as a kid. Is I just love the I came from an oil and gas family. Like my
Mhm.
family, if you saw Friday Night Lights, the movie, my
Mhm.
mom went to Permian, literally and my dad went to Midland Lee, the rival
Uh-huh.
in the school. So my entire family, like as I was growing up, was like, "Oh, you love the idea of environmentalism, but we're just not there yet." And I was like, "Watch and see, we're gonna do this." And so for me, it was just like these ideas are there. We know how to do this. And as now, as 36 years old, it's just like so frustrating because you're constantly having the same conversations as to whether it's realistic or not. And really, that argument is based on just what's profitable or more for the system. And nobody wants to acknowledge that, but you're just constantly like, this would be best for us. And they're like, yeah, I know, but money. Or it's not possible right now because all of our representatives are terrible. And
Mhm.
that becomes this conversation like, well, okay, but we still know what the solutions are, right? Like it's just constant gaslighting and being right. There's no I told you so that's rewarding in leftism or environmentalism. We're just stuck here saying, shit, we could have done better.
I am so
But
tired. I am an eldest daughter,
yeah,
eldest granddaughter, eldest
oldest too.
niece.
Yep.
I
Grandson, yep,
I
everything.
love saying "I told you so," and I am sick of it. I'm
Yeah,
sick
there's
of
no
it.
reward in it. Like they just
There's
look at you
not.
like, oh, mean, like rude, like
I sent something to my cousin a little bit ago. I think because my family's all Trump supporters.
yeah,
I wouldn't maybe say they're MAGA, but they definitely voted for Trump.
yeah.
Um, I sent something to my cousin. I want to say that it was about the tariffs, and he was like, "I don't know what you want me to say. Like that you were right." It's like
Let's start
that's
there,
we can
probably.
start there, and then let's go.
Yeah, yeah. You saying you're wrong is probably a stretch, but I'm right. Like, yeah. And again, neither one of us are happy about that.
Hmm.
Like, I don't want to be right about any of the shit that's happening.
I
We
have never
just
wanted to be
are.
wrong more than I do right now.
Yeah, like I really wish you could tell me that I'm just like an alarmist and it's better than it is and all, but where's the evidence?
Drive
Like,
me crazy.
yeah. And so that let's bring it back to the Democratic Party a little bit because
Hmm.
I love to hate on centrists and the Democratic Party in general, but we have a moment with two conversations. There's the Hassan demonization, which I think is a different conversation, and then there's the Eric Swalwell very clear evidence at this point, as we all see. It's very telling to me, and I know that we had Nelly and some others that wanted to be a part of this conversation, but it's very
Hmm.
telling, obviously, that like the whataboutism that happens in the Democratic Party when it comes to comments sections in particular, and the evidence that's in front of us. And within the last 36 hours, we obviously have the video in the hotel room that
Hmm.
is everywhere. But what is the actual limit when it comes for me, when it comes to Democrats and hypocrisy and understanding that we just have to have zero tolerance because it's, as somebody in a conservative state, I know you understand this. It's not us meeting in the middle that is the biggest problem. Winning
Hmm.
over conservatives in our day and age is about overcoming the hypocrisy in the Democratic Party. They are sick of watching a group say they are the morally superior group and not be it.
Hmm.
And as a leftist, I feel the same way. We're at a point where it's like, hey, how do we look at a situation like this and where is the breaking point? Is it the video? Is it the accusations? Is it believe women when it's conservatives? Or is it just believe women when it's convenient? And so I'll let you speak on that as a woman in particular, but that's my kind of question to you.
Yeah, I mean, we can't, we have spent since January 2025 when the Epstein files like really coming in saying believe women. We have been shouting that from the rooftops, and then all of a sudden someone on our side gets accused, and all of a sudden you don't want to believe women. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what is that?
And is the video enough? If you're still in the comments at this point defending it, it's just you're
You really don't get it, and you're
yeah.
just here shouting into
Colts
the
go both
void.
ways. Yeah.
Yes. Like
And confirmation bias doesn't do anything for anybody if we're actually trying to solve the problem.
believe
So
women means believe women, and I mean, Swalwell was the forerunner. Like he was probably going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. He
Like
was there. He
he was
had
going to
it.
win.
Yeah.
And I can understand people coming and saying, "Well, why now?" It's like, "Well, this has been building for months. It's finally
The
got enough traction to where it's believable now."
the bigger question is,
And
how does somebody like that get that far into our campaign as a Democrat when we've stood on business like this? If this is what we care about, how does somebody with these accusations that clearly were somewhere underlying, there's no way this
right.
just came out. It might have came out
Yeah.
virally just now, but there's no way that we're just finding about this as a Democratic Party. I would argue that when we came to rejecting, disclosing accusations across all parties, Democrats voting against that, they were doing things like protecting Swalwell.
Yeah,
And
100%.
why are we doing that? Why are we not voting for policies like that so we can get the most progressive candidates that don't have skeletons in the closet like this to fight against? Like,
Yeah, well, I mean, like as a woman, like 1 in 4 women have been assaulted. I have been assaulted, and I can tell you that if the person